It's the Big Homie Podcast on location again, of course. You know what I'm saying? What's up? Lynn's Gene. Yeah, it's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. Alright? I'm here. What's good? Oh, what's good? I ain't seen you in a minute. You still down south? Word. I want to talk about some stuff, y'all. I want to talk about it's the Big Homie Podcast, November 27th. No, September 27th. You know what I'm saying? I've been seeing on the news a lot. Hey, how you doing? What's good? I'm saying you should definitely chime in on this right here. This is very important. Now I know y'all heard about the girl that was killed by her her boyfriend, and they was like going cross country, and the cops arrested or stopped them, and apprehended them or whatever. They seen that the girl had a scar on her face. She said that the guy grabbed her face or whatever. People called the cops on them and said that they saw him smacking her in the car, described the vehicle. When the police bagged them, they let her go on her way and they let him go on his way. And then the girl winds up being dead. You know what I'm saying? So why do you think the police let her go? Phils Harris was good. I'ma have Louisiana. I forgot. I can't pronounce it, but why the girl Gabby Petito, right? The girl Gabby Petito, and I know it's a bunch of missing young black girls, but you know what I'm saying? This is getting a lot of news, so I wanted to say something about it. Yo, Phils Harris was good. I'm talking about this Gabby Petito thing where, the police arrested them, or not arrested them, but apprehended them in the mountains, and they seen that the girl was distraught and beat up, and they still let them go. Like they didn't arrest the boyfriend or nothing. They let them go, and this girl wound up dead. You feel me? So that's what's weird to me, that that something like that could happen. And it's just weird, yo. You know what I'm saying? That shit like that could happen. And now she's dead, and now they all blaming the police. Yo, Dave Huey was good. I'm talking about this. It's more about this. This more is about like domestic violence. You know what I'm saying? But I'm speaking on the Gabby Petito thing, but it's like the domestic violence thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's crazy, bro. Like, and how police gonna run down on y'all and you see that y'all was fighting, having domestic violence issues, and they just let you go? You know what I'm saying? Yo, what's good?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, man?
What's popping?
Chilling. I was listening here. That thing's been blowed up all over.
Right.
Did they found the boyfriend?
Did they bag him? I don't think they did, but no. They bagged him. Let me see. I'm gonna look it up right now. You know what I'm saying?
Because they were saying that he was missing the last time I saw,
Nah.
and they were searching the swamps and stuff.
They say police make contact with boyfriend of missing Long Island woman. Don't try to find me. Boyfriend reportedly posted. What? Oh, wow.
I think he could maybe he had killed himself somewhere. Maybe he threw himself in the swamp.
You think he killed himself?
I'm just guessing, because they were still searching for the boyfriend.
But they let him go. Like they had him and they let him go.
And then but then they said that they found out that he used a debit card or a credit card that was not his.
Yeah, they said
And that's
boyfriend of
how
slain
it,
Gabby Petito charged with bank card fraud.
right. And that's what made them use him as a suspicion. If he would have never did anything, he would have been away with this. Just
Right.
like the other murder that was on the news, this guy decades ago that murdered his wife and murdered another woman, and he just turned himself in. But look at, he has terminal cancer. So he's trying to get it
Right.
right before, he died. So I guess he can go to paradise. But it's going to be one of those things. It would have been one of those things,
Well, it
you
said the
know.
boyfriend of Gabby
Um,
Petito, whose body was found in a national park in Wyoming after a cross-country trip with him, has been charged with unauthorized use of a debit card as searchers continue looking for him Thursday in Florida swamplands. A federal grand jury indictment filed in the U.S. District Court in Wyoming alleges Brian Laundrie used a Capital One bank card and someone's personal identification number to make unauthorized withdrawals or charges worth more than $1,000 during the period in which Petito went missing. So yeah, he just fucking incriminated himself crazy. But yo, the real thing about this is how the police had them bagged and they let them go. The girl's face clearly had a scratch on her cheek, and she said that he was grabbing her face. And the people that called the cops on him, the Karens, they told him, yo, we seeing some guy in a car
right.
smack a girl, and the car had Florida plates and had the black ladder on the back. Described their car to the T. So the police bagged them, and these dudes still let them go. Like, how is that possible? I
I
don't
tell you,
understand.
man, this is a messed up world. It's confusion. It's all around. I don't
Like,
get it
bro,
either.
it's weird though because you know for a fact that if it was a black dude with that girl, that nigga would have been in cuffs. He would have been leaving in
Oh yeah.
cuffs. You know that shit for a fact. He'd have been in cuffs. They would have had it blown up. We got him. We got him. But they just let them go. And now I seen on the news report today, the girl died, and they had the funeral for her today in Long Island. And now they blaming the police for letting them go. You
They're
feel me?
mad at the police. Yeah, yeah. I guess they got to get this expenses. As the only
I
way
think
to
the
do it is
police is
just
partly at fault
sue.
though.
They have to sue because,
Bro, I think the police is partly at fault though.
yeah,
Like how
it is questionable. And the sad
yeah,
thing about it is, we can only imagine who maybe he knew in the police
right,
department.
exactly.
Sometimes it makes you wonder if this could have been a deeper issue behind it. Uh, to get in the vehicle. I mean, you can only imagine, and it's just sad because a friend came on the news and said that he was very controlling,
Right, right.
and he had a way to get her not to do things,
See?
but he never appeared to be as this violent.
But
And she
why would
just
the parents leash was good? Why would the parents let them go on cross country trips together like that? Like what the fuck was that about?
in the middle of this epidemic, like, you
Yeah,
know, especially right to go away. And then the mother said that the grandmother said she was going to live with her
Tamika
when
Charles, that's
return.
good. Yeah,
She
that's
just
why
gave
they
up.
right.
It's crazy how that people don't dictate in these days. There's a lot of stereotype, let's say, where you get a minority that will point you out. Sometimes you walk into a store, you never stole.
Right.
And the people pointing you out, suspecting you. Can I help you? They're young and they're suspecting that you're going to come in there and steal. And then somebody will come in there that they say, oh, hi, how you doing? And go, but he'll steal. That's where we are living at in these days, where
Yeah.
people profile, but when it
Yes.
comes down to something getting ready to happen, they don't know nothing.
Right.
And that's speaking prophetically, I feel like, to us people today, because it shows you that we're not in tune.
Right.
Where is our senses? Something had to give you that gut this guy is not right. He's not moving right.
Yeah, but they're saying that she was
You
like
know.
bipolar too, so she would attack him as well. She would attack him as well. He would
Oh,
have to
maybe.
fight her off.
Oh, so let me tell you something. Maybe, because I do know somebody like that, and let me tell you something. They're very abusive. Maybe, maybe he had to kill her. I mean, I don't want to put negativity out there. I mean, we can only know. You know,
Hey, yo, look, this is
we
this is
may
what
look.
I just said earlier. Shaniqua Charles just said, all of the missing black children, I'm saddened for all of the missing and past that only some receive the attention to be returned. And you absolutely right. Like they're not gonna put if they're not gonna see, first of all, this is the thing about this. In America, everybody knows that black people are treated less than other nationalities, as far as white, Asian, Middle Eastern, whatever. Like everybody want to rock off our culture and culture vulture off of the proceeds of everything we do, but we're still looked at as second class citizens. That shit is like embedded in America's DNA. We know this. And yes, of course, there's plenty missing young black girls that's out here that is not getting this attention that this thing is getting. So this is why this is sparking this conversation, and this is why on the Big Homie podcast I'm talking about this, because we do have a lot of missing black girls out right now that there's getting no media attention for. You know what I'm saying? But I guess this girl, Gabby Petito, is bringing it up now because regardless of whether she's white, black, or whatever, she was still a girl that actually got murdered by her man while they was on. And it was done so like recklessly, the way the police bagged them and then just let them go. You know what I'm saying? Like how you had her in custody. That was when you were supposed to have kept this girl safe. You feel me?
Right.
Like they're gonna sue the police for sure. Police getting sued.
It, it is, and that's fishy. And I think that maybe this is another issue that maybe it's about the relationship that fathers need as their role in their young adult female life. Because
Mm,
today, something happened. I work in the school district,
right.
and a mother brought her child to school. She was kind of like, had to be almost a teenager or a little less, a couple of years. And she brought her little girl to school, and it was like a bond. And I was like, wow, that's so beautiful.
Right.
And then that daughter grabbed her mother. I thought it was like two girlfriends, but the bond was like so rich. I felt it. And I'm like, and I told one of the coworkers, I'm like, what if this world was like with fathers with their daughters,
Mm.
that kind of bond? Would we be having these issues today? You know, it
But
just
see,
makes you think.
that was the whole plan to break up the black family in the 60s and 70s. That was specifically to structure it to where now women are looking for that father figure that wasn't home, and a lot of times it's of that disastrous relationship that their mother had with that boyfriend that they saw fighting with their mother, or it could have been their father too, whipping the mother ass. Because when they started giving out welfare in project apartments to these women and telling them like they can't have men around, women somehow will subconsciously believe that they didn't need a man around. And a lot of that shit, and we men, so we know, like, if you in a house with a woman and a woman makes you make you feel less than or less than, knowing that already out in the street and in the public you go through that, then you come home and go through that, it definitely creates a lot of tension. So even if it's not the girl's father, it's the boyfriend or the uncle or anybody. They see that traumatic shit at home and then they have issues, and now they going out there looking for men that has that same trauma. That's why girls be always like, oh, they looking for the bad boys. They want the bad boys. Why the fuck do you want a bad boy? A nigga that's a criminal, or that's gonna whip your ass, or that's not gonna have a secure enough situation to provide for the family. Everybody know that bad boys that's
Right.
out in the street doing wild shit, they ain't really stable enough to securely provide for a family. until they get their
And
shit
she'll go
together
to
and they get their mental together, and then they want to be able to be a head of the household and shit like that. That's why so many women feel
you.
like they're heads of the household, because they were put in that position and the families were broken up specifically for that reason. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't really do the knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Can I go? Can I go a little deeper? That's so true because you
Go
touched on
ahead.
something that somebody a couple of weeks ago was talking about. Is where versus, you know, what even in our fashion, and that's
Everything.
why I don't demonize. You know, where they're making these clothing lines. These people are doing a job to serve the community, and they're speaking to our culture. They're
Right.
not lying. Where you had, well, I don't want to call his name. I don't want to divert too much off of little X Nas, whatever, looking like he was pregnant. But
Oh,
that is where but the truth be told, they're speaking. Hey, this is where we are at in this
right.
world. You got a
Mhm.
young girl. I was in the school, I think the last school year, same year, but towards the end,
Right.
and I was at a elementary school, and
Right.
especially amongst the Puerto Rican. I don't want to offend anybody, but the
No,
Puerto
this is
Rican, I
say
got to
what you
be
feel,
true.
bro.
And I was in the class, and I was talking about, you know, how you just got to smile. They said, "Oh, you got nice teeth," and the girl was talking. This young girl, I was shocked because she talked about, somebody mentioned one of the schoolmates about, or is it a sin to be gay and to do this? And the other girl, it was one of the girls, and that she's already made up her mind at that age in elementary school that she
That
wants a
she don't
female.
want
And
to be
I
with.
thought,
Wow.
I can't talk on that.
So
And I
in
was like, let me know. I
elementary
want to
school, you
my
gotta be
job.
like
Look at
what? But
you, gonna make me lose my job.
you anywhere between 6 and 12, right? Elementary school. So
They're getting it younger. Yo, I want you
yo,
to hear what you got to say. I'm gonna forget this. Even today, amongst males, I'm starting to see, and this is where our culture, and I think people just got to stop demonizing and just embrace, because these people who are icons in the fashion world are prophetically saying this is the issue, this is the culture of today, this is what our young people think, feel, this is it. You got young boys that are in third grade and they're holding hands romantically
mm,
across the field. They're on
that's
top of
crazy.
each other. Our young, and not to make it a gay thing, whatever, but the hormones in generally, where what I see of the way that he'll roll, or whether he's on this playground and he will bend his body over, and then they'll play horseplay, rub it on. You know, I had to recently tell a young one in third grade, get up off of his behind. You know, uh, you
Yo,
know,
it's funny you say
it's
that
just
because one day I was watching my son. I walked in, my son was watching YouTube, and you know they always be watching these little YouTube videos where the guys it'd be like little um they'll have like little skits and stuff like that, and it was two like rugged rapper looking dudes, and I seen he was watching. I'm like, what the hell are you watching? So I just stayed there and watched it. And the dude turned around and like bent over for the other guy to like stand in front of him from behind. Like doing it like as if
wow.
it was just they was playing around. Like just like you said, like what you see the kids doing in the park. And I saw that, I was like, yo, what the fuck is this you watching, B? Like they trying to brainwash you to make you think that homosexuality is cool and fun to do. Bro, turn that shit off. I don't want to see you watching this again.
Wow.
So when we don't sit up with our children and watch what they're watching, the agenda is out there and it's targeting our young
It is.
children.
It
And we
is.
don't even pay attention. Because a lot of people sit their kids in front of the fucking YouTube or the TV all day to run out and do whatever they want to do. And we don't know what's on these little YouTube channels that they watch. We don't know, but it's out there. That gay agenda is there, 100%. You know what I'm saying?
And sometimes sometimes it's for love and belonging. And
Right.
now you have a lot of these things that are getting the hormones. They're developing. They are able to relate to you now. I've never seen where young people now at second grade, third grade can relate and they understand to meet an adult in their 30s. You
Wow,
know,
that's good.
and it is just mind blowing. And they are developing, and they are having. I've also seen it's a problem in the home. I also seen where I'm like, what? When I was that age, what, in fourth grade, you telling me you bring your child to school, or the mother's boyfriend, or whoever he was, a daddy. But I saw where he didn't have much control, so he perceived to me to be like he was the girl's boyfriend, and
Right.
he was just dropping her off. He had to. So coming into the school, the boyfriend dropped the boy. He didn't want to get out of the car. He'd get out of the car crying. He didn't want to get into the building. And I was like, can you at the door handle that? Because the secretary, I said, because that's too big for me to get involved with. And he
Right.
was like, you could tell he was getting aggressive, like, oh, but he couldn't, show I want to put my hands or whatever have you. So he had to get his girlfriend, the mother, on the phone. So he went from being at the door with the security guard to going back in. All right, go back in. Well, you do know if you don't go to school today, that situation or what I had surprise for you, you're not going to get that. And he didn't care. He didn't want to get in. He went back into the van. I thought they're going to pull off and go home. I'm like, whoa, what?
Yeah, that shit
I didn't
crazy.
have a decision at that age. These kids are grown and they're making up their own mind. And a lot of them now have a defect. I don't know, because of the alcohol from the Hispanic culture, that they have a birth defect, that they have bipolar, they have syndrome. And you may not see it. You might say, hello, good morning. They will.
Yo, I don't think it's from people drinking while they're pregnant. I think it's those vaccines that they're giving kids when they're babies. That's what it really is. Like you don't
Well,
know,
it's a
like
lot of
every
them now in special education that when I was coming up, special ed was, you were still normal. But now they got all these other types of conditions
mm,
that the school system is putting up with now and putting them in a classroom with
right,
normal people
right,
and saying, well, this is special ed. One of them decided, hey, during the last school season at the end, was it in May? We in the cafeteria, went to go out, pulled the alarm, pulled the fire alarm. So the principal wanted to blame one of us, like, whose child is this? Who's in control?
right.
Who's watching? The fire alarm came off, and then the security guard came with the camera of the special ed student who pulled the fire alarm.
Yeah, they wilding
And
out there now.
could get expelled. I don't, she might have got it expended, or maybe they did get expelled, but after that, a little too much. But, they just get a special ed. It's just special ed
Right.
now. But so but I don't agree with throwing them in with normal people
So
who
yo,
sometimes they don't talk. They'll get the temperament. They'll throw. But hey, look it. I just wanted to just say, I just want to thank you, because I think my time has expired here. But I hope it was just hopeful and insightful, that I think that, God is allowing these things now, just like with Trayvon Martin, 9/11.
well, you know what they say
He
in the
allowing
book of
these things to come up
Revelations.
because,
In the book of
our
Revelations,
forefathers' blood, huh?
in the book of Revelations, they say the time is now for all of this to happen. All of this stuff, the famine, the pandemics, the hurricanes, the earthquakes, the fires, all of this homosexuality and children, and
Yeah.
all this whole gay agenda thing. Like, yo, this is like that. This is like the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? January Madam was good. Yo,
And this
now,
is why, before I just get off, I want to say this is why it's important, and I think God is allowing it, though, even though we call it wicked, he's allowing that because that is also a part of everything that is coming into divine order
Right.
till he come back. But this is why we, or as parents or whatever, have to make sure that we live honest and we live pure, and we stick to that book in raising up a child in the way that it should go. I've heard people, they was living a lot like Kim Daniels. She had birthed a son that went to NFL, whatever. She was a prostitute, and she talked about it. She was out there, and she's one of the mothers of one of the NFL players in the Giants team, whatever.
Right.
And she said, "Look, my son went to the church. I was on drugs. I said, you is not gonna be like me, and you gonna get your behind." Or get tore up and get whooped up, even when the father role was not there, the mother became the father, and they was that strong.
But see, that was the whole thing, breaking up the family, and now having the moms have to deal with a young man. That's always the issue, because that young man is either going to run to the streets, and when he get a certain age, he ain't going to listen to his moms no more, because at that point he feel like he a man. So all of the rules and regulations that the moms is trying to inflict on him, niggas ain't listening to that. Because I know when I turned 14, I stopped listening to my mother and I turned to the streets. But it's just that my willpower was too strong to fall victim to a lot of shit. This is why I never tried other drugs other than weed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I went to jail a couple of times for doing crimes and getting caught out there and shit like that. But I never, tried no gay shit. I never tried no hard drugs like crack and coke and LSD and all that. I never did that because I had too much confidence within myself to not want to do that. But I know for a fact that when we reach that puberty stage and we like 13, 14, 15, and it's only a mother there, we ain't trying to hear everything she got to say about coming to house at this and that time and, yo, you can't do this, you can't do that, make sure you go to school every day. We start doing what the fuck we want to, because them beatings ain't hurting no more. We young men now. And back then, that's when we was getting beatings. Now, the parents ain't even beating the kids. Because the kid, they
just
scared.
like the whinings.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I want to say like the whinings. I think I lied, but anyway. I think like the whinings, Cece Winans did something on Mother's Day with her mom. And she talked, people would marvel. But now, they have these boys. What was it? 7 boys and 3 girls. She said, we used to go to that mall.
Right.
And I carried a switch with me. And those kids knew how to get right in line and sit right down while she go shopping. And she said people would marvel at them. They're like, what? Yeah. Because even at that age, when there is a baby, you got to start correcting. You got to start, pruning them up. But that's all about shaping and molding greatness, is that a secondary, I believe us as parents have to be very careful and critical, because little do we know, we don't know what your son will grow up to be. We don't know what your daughter will grow up to be.
Right.
Regardless, like what you said about those meetings, well, if you instilled that in them earlier, I think by that time, even though they'll know how to learn how to respect, because that will follow. But, now we having mothers who are 12 years old raising their kids. So now the system is really run down.
Right.
At least years ago, they still stuck to that old traditional way of like, what? We are not having it. And you better, those are kind of strong. Now, any and everything is going. The molestations is happening because the house is open. You have incest and all these other different things that are, that are taking place because of the, let's call it the hormone thing. When you get a little hot, and when you get a little hot, lust doesn't have an agenda. Lust does not say, well, it's just that. Sometimes it's just what's given. Well,
so Phil, what's your take on homosexuality? Like, how do you feel about it?
Well, I'm going to say this. My take on it Of course, we know that, of course, that's not God's agenda. It's not God's thing. And, I'm an evangelist, whatever have you.
Mm-hmm.
I had a wonderful wife. I just did not have kids per
Mm-hmm.
se in that relationship. And I'm so glad and grateful that not that we did not have it, but she cried wolf and went to get birth control,
Mm-hmm.
and that was it. And then we just, went this way and we went that way. But I'm very well experienced, and I'm a man of many experiences, and I've learned how to go through situations, and this is why I am more regardless of whether we would say, oh, it's wrong and we call this as an abomination. There were other things that are an abomination. Sometimes a person is dealt with circumstances that they did not choose. Sometimes it was something that was a generational curse. And this is why I am compassionate about certain things and not so judgmental. Secondarily, the reason why I say is because I see traditionally in the church. I had a sister, and she was so strong, and she didn't want them to watch Bobby Jones Gospel. She didn't want them to watch Big Frida. But little did they do not know, there's a thug. And the way that they're going, homeschooling, because you scared of putting them in. And I was like, sis, you better get these kids into school. And because I know, I says to the father, you got your degree, but these kids ain't gonna be no bums. Well,
Now,
she didn't like that. She
when you
told me
say
to
you
get
well
out.
experienced, when you say you well experienced, what do you mean? Like, well, you
Well, I just want to leave it like that.
okay?
And again, I just want to leave it like that. And again, sometimes situations you are confronted with, you did not choose, but it does not mean, and again, when you chase Bible, there were people in the Bible that were imperfect, but God just chose. The blessing was out greater than any sin. I believe that the blessing of God is greater than, and because we have an advocate now, this is the
So
thing.
basically, what you're saying is like a lot of them kids that was touched in like the priest by priests in Catholic Church, and the kids that was touched in like Boy Scouts of America and things
Right.
like that. Those are things that they didn't choose, or uncle or somebody touched them, or even young boys that was molested by their aunties, like or females. Like those things gave a lot of people like sexual issues where they are now predatory. They're predatory towards other little kids now as adults. Like for instance, I think R. Kelly was touched as a child. I think it was something out there that said he was touched or his aunt or somebody did something to him when he was little.
Sister.
Yeah, his sister. So this is the reason why he go after these young girls, because I think maybe when his sister touched him when he was young, he probably was so at all and infatuated by his young teenage sister touching him that now all he go after is young girls that he can control. So it's more of a mental thing, because 9 times out of 10, all of those young boys that was molested and became homosexuals because of that, they're now preying on other young kids. You know what I'm saying? So like what you said, Phil, I understand what you're saying when you say, you know what I'm saying, you've been through shit, and a lot of kids, it was thrown in onto them, or there was unforeseen things that happened to them that they couldn't control that made them something that they probably wasn't even thinking about, but was experienced to it, and now it's overwhelming to them now. And it happens in life. I know it does. You know what I'm saying? It's sad,
It, it, it,
but
it
it does happen.
it does. And I, like, again, um, we are all sexual beings,
Creatures, yes, we are. We definitely
spiritual
are.
beings. And the reason why you find there's a lot of this stuff going on, and it's just so, like, it's really sad because the church don't want to open up. And because when I last checked, it does not mean because you have a battle with your sexuality that you don't love God. We are only
Of
dealt
course.
with what we've been handled with.
So
And
would you say that a lot of gay people that go to church, do they feel like inferior, or do they feel like God is not accepting them because they know
some of
they,
them do,
and this is probably the reason
some of
why
them
they
do,
stay in the closet for so long. You know what I'm saying?
some of them do, and some young people commit suicide. And then
Right.
recently, a couple of years ago, there was one well-known guy down in Chicago. He was a maestro. They call him a maestro, and he was bullied up on. He had a girl. I don't know what was going on. He was getting engagements, preaching and whatnot, and they said that all these prophets in the church, the blame was on the prophets.
Right.
He got tired of being bullied. He went home, and his mother had found him in a pool of blood.
What he did? He slit his wrist, his throat. What?
He shot himself. They say he shot himself.
Oh.
Couldn't take it. He wrote, and I think somebody knew, but
But
he
you know
could
what's
not get
weird?
the help because I'm going through my sexual, I'm desiring a man. I love God, and I don't know how to deal with this, and I don't know why I'm like this. And what do I do? If I tell them, they're not going to accept me. So what do I do? And this, it's pretty much, I had a close friend, and I found out, I was thinking about, when I was coming up, I was bullied up on. I was called that faggot, and I knew I wasn't faggot. I wasn't gay, but because I come from the church, and my grandmother, God bless her soul, that grandmother, boy, it took me 12 years when she gone in '06. Lord Jesus.
So
But her love,
would you say that it was a man in your house with your father around, or uncle, or any?
he was there. I have a good father. He is a provider, but
Right.
still, sometimes, if I just want to say, you may not be that stuff in the Bible, Joseph being thrown into the pit, David out there, he's not celebrated because his brothers, he's out there in the dirtiest part of the wildlife. It's still doing victorious things, and but he wasn't the father's choice. You could still have that division in the home. You could still have that in the blood, and it
No,
starts from the DNA.
sometimes it could be either, like you said, inherited, or it could be the parent is doing something to the kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, or the uncle, or older sibling. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know a couple people, like, I know this guy, he got mad kids, but it turns out that he has a sexual addiction because his aunt used to make him sleep with her back when he was younger. So
I've heard
now
people
he's out
say that
here.
to me too.
Now he's out here just having. He could be with a good woman, but he just have a sexual addiction where he just constantly meets women and make babies with them. It's not that he just sleeping with them. He's making babies. So if you his girl, female's his girl, he's definitely gonna have a baby on you with somebody else because that's just what he do. You know what I'm saying? And it's like things that happen to you as a little child, it affects you as adults, and people don't be understanding that shit. So now that you
This is
said
what
we're
taught me.
so big with the homosexuality thing being so big now,
It's
I don't understand. Like, if
it's
a guy's home it has gay tendencies, like what's wrong with them now? Like, why wouldn't they want to come out and speak on it? Because this gay agenda is just so huge now. You got this rapper dude, Little Nas X. He's doing all of the showing you everything in his music. His music ain't bad, but the videos he's really portraying, showing you like, look, this is what it is. This is who I am. Because when he first came out with that Old
and
Town Road song, he wasn't really showing that. I guess the colorful cowboy suit and him saying he gonna ride till he can't no more on some Brokeback Mountain shit. But now he's really like showing like, look, I'm gay or bisexual or whatever. I'm gonna kiss men in my videos. I'm gonna dance naked in the shower on sets of videos with men. Like, he's really putting that shit out there, yo. Like,
well, that's his freedom. And and again, what to me that just ministered. If they felt that it was not going to sell, it was not. They would have never had him to do that.
you know,
But
for a
they
fact they
know
knew it was
this is
going to
where
sell.
our culture is going,
Yeah, they know they
because
wanted him to do that.
that is really, to be honest, all of those things is really what God uses to unite us, because this is where we are going. It's not. probably as holy,
Right.
but it does not mean because one is having a sexual crisis that they are demonized and they under the demonic agenda. And this is where the church kind of goes off the rim, and they look at it and they curse it, and then we all crazy now.
So Phil,
And because
would you say that, like, you know what I'm saying, gay men, do they feel like believing in God and going to church, do y'all feel like you can't make it to heaven because, like, you know, that's
um
not what was in the Bible? Is that a fear?
well, what I won't say that because that's one thing today. It's so funny we having this talk, man. God really be speaking to me, man. I was thinking about this as one thing. Okay, one thing it's a mystery.
Right.
Okay, is he has to say,
Hmm.
"Well done, man." Look at because believe it or not, I've been persecuted and I'm hated because I see the warfare where people say, "Oh, you know, he ain't God," but then I'll speak a word to somebody's life, and then they see the fruit of that word come to pass.
Right.
And I go through the warfare because of my sexuality.
Right.
I go
Right.
through the warfare even in ministry today, and I know the reason why I'm probably well, God's got His hand on me regardless,
Right.
but I'm probably have not kind of gone up to a level where I should have, like, probably would have, but because, you know, oh, look at him, he's not living his truth. Oh, something is wrong with him. But what people don't understand is, and I've said to you, I'm a man of many experiences, and I'm not ashamed.
Right.
Because why? Because those experiences gave me the wisdom to sit and see what these people are going through in the world today. And
So
we're nailing them to the cross. They might make it to heaven.
so how long would you say would you say that you would say that you kept a secret, you kept that secret until you felt open enough to let it out?
I'm gonna tell you one thing. I feel like people already. I don't consider. I'm not saying that. I ain't belittling myself in saying that I am.
Right.
You know, but I guess I'm. You know, there comes a point in time when you have wisdom, and you just got to. I would say that I have dealt with some things, and through me having God in a prayer life,
Right.
there were pitfalls, and God be showing me, like, look it. I pray because I know what, you know, I'm able to see what is coming up the road, what the enemy would want for my life, of course, because of, you know, my influence that I have as a young man, and I'm not being incarcerated. You haven't been in jail. You haven't gotten caught up, but I have dealt in these things. I would say that for me, um, you know, I have battled and it is still going through. And
At this
I
time,
found
at this day and age, you wouldn't say that being gay is something that you can be proud of if that's what you are. Like, say for instance, like you said, if a person was touched was as a young child and now they confused and they don't know if they like women or they don't like if they like men, and then they grow up and become a grown man that has a stable job and they living productively in society as a gay man, but still trying to figure it out and not, wouldn't it be at this point in time, wouldn't it be okay to be open with who you are, your sexuality at that point?
that that is what the I felt God long time always, but I didn't trust that voice.
Mm.
Is to love yourself. And I'm getting kind of teary because oh, because of the fact that I still feel the hate, but because I had God to send people in my life
Right,
that nourished me,
right,
that built me up, you know, send clothes through the mailbox and took me out and still does that. I call mom and had built up my esteem up I just struggle with how to love myself. Now I'm finally coming into love and Phil,
So where,
regardless.
so where would you say? How would you say you identify as? You identify as a gay man or a bisexual man, or you know what I'm saying?
Superman, Superman.
So, yo, you know
I
what?
could be smooth. I could be a Jack. Look at, I love women. I love women, but I don't in my heart. I am that place in me is just I've had love through a pretty girl,
That's
but
right.
it did not. And
Tony
all of
Steele
my
said, "Love
esteem was gone.
thyself." Tony Steele said, "Love thyself." You know what I'm saying?
I'm loving myself, and I love this kind of freedom. I am trying to live godly, and I do have the Lord walking with me and guiding me through when I'm still trying to navigate
And you
and
can't, and
master.
also you can't feel like God is not watching you or forgiving you for your sins as well, because you're
Oh,
still
look at
fighting with something in your own self that you got to,
hold
you
it.
know what I'm saying? You know what I
This
mean?
topic, I love it because guess what? My cousin one day I was a couple of weeks ago. I got up to the podium because you know I am an ordained elder.
Right.
My father's a pastor, and she said it is well, and I was like, always would say to me, and look down through the years, it is well, it is well,
Right.
and I'm like, what is my cousin saying about his well? Do you know? I think it was 2 weeks ago. It hit me, and the Lord gave it to me. Oh my God! God said it's all right. Look it,
Mm.
whatever you got to go through, whatever you back up, you got to do. Look it, it is all right. And I was driving last week, and the Spirit spoke to me and said, "It's a purpose of why you are where you are, why you are the way that you are, because somebody out there is going to need you. Somebody out there you're going to have to touch." And so I have to say, God, let your will. And you know, I had it confirmed because that's how God deals with me. Another dude on Facebook, and I was going through this guy's Facebook, and he talked about how he struggled and how God told him just trust him in what you're going through. Love yourself. Love the way that you are. God is trying to get people to be. It is not of God that people sit there and they have to have high blood pressure and they taking pills for depression and they're losing hair and they're ill because they feel a certain way and they can't tell nobody. That's not of God. That's a bondage.
So
So
would you say that a lot of gay people that still like fighting with their sexuality or to come out about their sexuality is kind of afraid that in the Bible it makes you, it shows you that that's not the way to go, even though it's a large gay community. Everybody goes off of, oh, the Bible says it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. So a lot of people that
right,
are gay
right.
and still fighting with their sexuality, do they feel a way like, oh, should I praise God? Is he really going to save me? Am I going to really see the pearly gates because of my sexuality? And I was, it was forced on me. Like
You are going to see. Look at our forefathers built an altar. They were just like us. Look at look at Abraham and Sarah.
Mhm.
They're gonna try to
Well,
be. They're gonna try to bring the promise. And what did God told? He's the righteous judge. He
mhm.
told Sahara, "You go and submit yourself back to Sarah because she was upset because Sarah was upset, like she was scared that Sarah could kill her because she was a handmaiden. She had laid up, and it wasn't a good. You could imagine. Ooh, Sarah, I feel like a young woman. Oh, it wasn't as pretty. It wasn't pretty. Where she's now feeling like she's the queen. And we hear a couple of stories about that in the Bible. But
Well,
what did
look,
God
Tony
tell her? I'm
Steele.
going to bless. I'm going to still bless your seed. Because the blessing is not about what you do. It's about Christ. And now we have the blessing of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Jesus Christ come from the seed of David upon our lives now. He promised to bless us. So that is not a matter about that. We are all blessed people. even
Right.
down to the unbelievers.
But
It's not about your sexuality.
the question that I'm asking you is, do a lot of homosexuals feel like they are looked at differently in the eyes of the Lord? Because you
I
know what
don't
I'm
know,
saying?
because you got certain type of kinds that do have that spirituality
Mm,
and they have that walk. I don't know, because we may look at it to be an outward thing. I do believe that God, there are going to be people who have been through stuff like that,
right,
like myself, in those pearly gates.
right,
And they're going to be people that say, that deem light, and they judge, and they say that, that they call themselves righteous, but
right.
they ain't really got the heart. Depart from me, you worker of iniquity. You know, I think it's
Yo,
all about the end of the day where your heart is. And if you are trying to please God, God's going to see that and say, well done. If you're
of course,
trying to please, you may have some slips, but you see, it's not about an outer issue or just a male agenda.
right.
It coming from something, a weakness in the family line.
Mm,
We were born into these things. So
right.
why not we deal that's why James Cleveland, look, was he the king of gospel?
Genie Sweetness was good.
Look at him.
You got anything to speak on this? Because I could bring you in if you like to speak on it. I notice a lot of people
Yes,
are like out of Vince or
sure. I would
you know what
love.
I'm saying?
We need to. And I'm just
Word.
got tired because my prayer was I was not being the gym. I'm like, God, I'm at a place where I can't talk that to my parents.
Yo, now, son, you got
And then
anything you
mother,
want to speak on this topic? Because it originally started off as like a domestic violence thing with the girl, that was found with her
man,
boyfriend, and then what I'm saying, when Phil came in, he started talking to me about some of the things that he sees with the younger children now. So then now we on like not only on domestic violence, but now it's on like a gay agenda thing, like and how gay people feel with praising God, and if they feel like they're not going to make it to heaven, what I'm saying, if that's what they believe, because they, what I'm saying, in the Bible it says that that's not supposed to be the way it's supposed to be or whatever. But from the biblical days, from when dudes was wearing them togas and all of that, and they was having all them orgies, men were sleeping with men and women were sleeping with women.
Kaluga.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
But what's the crazy thing is most of the gays in church.
Yeah.
Most of them in church. Most. I don't know what the battle. Some are, some don't hide it, some just be themselves, but I don't know.
I ain't gonna front because a lot of the it's a known fact that a lot of the predators that like young boys are priests. Are priests. Like I've seen commercials on some late night shit where they said, well, if you was a Catholic school student and you were touched, or you was in Boy Scouts and you were touched, come forth, tell your story. There's a class action suit out on it. Like, so it's a known fact that a lot of people, a lot of the predators that prey on little boys, they're in Catholic churches and priesthood and in Boy Scouts and stuff like that. So that's a known fact
Wow.
now. It's not even something that's hidden. It's out there. It's out there now. That's almost like what they say about a lot of Spanish men, that they be touching their little cousins, and what I'm saying, and they be marrying within the family. Like, that shit is out there. It's true. It's just a
Yeah,
fact.
I heard that. I heard that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. So like when speaking to you, Phil, like you were saying a lot of stuff that a gay person would know or understand, that what I'm saying, if you in church you may feel a way, like as a straight person going to church and they reading the Bible, and a lot of times preachers get on the podium and they'll say stuff like that, like, yo, that's not what it's supposed to be, and a man is supposed to procreate with a woman and blah blah blah, and them themselves be gay,
Yeah.
trying to speak that
and,
shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I had just,
I've
bro,
seen that a lot.
I just dropped somebody off and into the Bronx yesterday, and he was telling me how pastors with wives
Right, right.
approached him. And this is why I say there's a whole lot of judgment and a whole lot of hating, but people need to realize your child can be gay. This is
Ultimately, you
why
got to be
people
yourself.
need to start. They need to start walking in fear, because ain't nobody's exempt from these things is called life.
Right.
As much as we want to be super spiritualized, we all need love and belonging.
Right.
And with me, I would say, and I won't talk too much, but it would be more like because I wanted that affection
Mm.
I had the affection from my grandmothers and when I was young with my mom. But now it's almost like I think she see it and it's like I get that it's a different type of energy. And
So
I
what would you
can't
say
come
you
out.
would?
You can't come out to say I'm dealing with this. You can't come out to say because their minds is not there to something did happen and a long time ago
Mm.
in 2009, and they had found out through the computer of so and so where I was going on Craigslist, but I did not know that the computer at that time was my dad's email, and I would email through the Craigslist. And my aunt, who lived in
Wow.
the city at that time, now she's in Virginia. She was going through helping my dad with his emails and found this.
Oh.
And oh my God, my mother
So
was on the floor.
did they try to persecute you about it because how they
No,
found
he was
out?
upset for a while. He was upset for a while. Like, I think I ended up apologizing to the church, but on one night. I didn't go into the detail.
Right.
And he said, you're on your way going to hell. And I don't know how God, I was so embarrassed. But God
Wow.
saw me through that. You don't even know what I went through for a moment. And he kind of was looking at me that. And I think through that, I also felt, you could come up into a good Christian home, a good home, and feel that division. And I craved for that man image. That was
Mm.
my problem. That's
Right.
what made me want to desire to get to that man's affection and to be all thug out like this and to, you know what I'm saying? And I got feminine ways sometimes it come out, the masculinity come out. Sometimes the feminine way come out that because my grandmother imparted a lot into me.
Right.
And even though sometimes yeah, it is real funny.
Right.
And I get other people be like, I just want you to be comfortable. I hang around people that do music, that do it for real, that
Right.
got Jay-Z, plaques on the wall from Jay-Z, Kanye West, and all these other people. And one of them looked at me, I was like, why she always say, I just want you to be comfortable? Because it hit me hard. People are looking at that side, but he ain't gonna be comfortable. And I can't come out and be like that. So I had to walk a certain direction, but
Mm.
I am free because I know that we're here to stay. It doesn't matter where you have a wife, whether we are all sexual beings. And I've
That's a
heard
fact.
many stories of,
The gay community is here. Y'all are here to stay. And I
and
understand
they
that.
can say all they want. All they want to say about it's this because guess what? It's up in the pulpit area. It's up in the pew. All right. And
That
we
shit is
all
everywhere.
are
That shit is in
created.
entertainment. That shit is in church.
But
This shit
look,
is everywhere.
God
Everywhere.
created us. God created us to be in, he said, he made us in his likeness. Who for me to say, you not to embrace, if God's telling me, I got you. And I had to say when I fell short, I got you. I had to remind myself I couldn't accept that. That was the painful part. I just did this. How can I? But it feels good. This is what I'm used to.
So I'm going to ask
This
you a
is what,
question. Would you say that, because I heard you say earlier that, sometimes it's inherited or sometimes people it's beyond their control. Somebody is touched when they're younger and then they enjoy it and now they're confused and they don't know what it is that they want. So in your defense, like, would you say you just felt that way from young, or would you say that it was something happened at a young age that you couldn't
I
control?
believe something. Yeah, yeah. something did happen when I was growing up. I went into a dark age, and I'm still dealing. I'm free. I'm delivered from the negative effects.
Right.
Coming up, I was made fun of because I wore, of course, high waters and different things, and
Right. Right.
I
Right.
was just young, and I just loved the Lord, and that was how I was. And man, I
Back
was
then
bullied at home.
they called it androgynous, right? What was it called? Like when you
I was
dress,
gay. I
you know what
was
I'm saying?
fat, and that used to hurt me. I would be playing in elementary school with my peer, close peer. I would go across town, ride my bike across the town,
Mm.
and oh, you gay, you faggot. I'll go to the teacher, go back and sit down and ignore it. That ripped a hole in my heart. And when I
Right.
was in high school, I was called out of nowhere. A girl would call me gay, faggot, and that would hurt me so much. And I realize, and I tell people, and I feel sorry for young men because I'd be like, oh God, you don't know what they can turn out to be if they don't have that male. Some of them turn out to be okay. Some of them turn out to be straight. Some of them, they turn out to be, because guess what? Men, especially in their younger age, they need to be identified. They need esteem.
Hmm.
And that was a part. And I feel like today people don't want to so much chill with me, and I'm cool with it because of. But then there are people back then I grew up with. His name, I can't say his name, was Jason. And we were cool. And I had met into another peer that I was tight. I think some of him rubbed off on me because he was wild sexual in elementary.
Right.
Okay. And
So would you
he
say
told me
that
that
he
he
was trying
hanged
to be
himself.
intimate with you, or he hung himself?
No,
Wow.
he made me feel like I was normal. He made me coming up in school, not the one I just mentioned. There was another one that I had ran into a week ago
Right.
who he was close with. And this dude made me feel I was normal. And bro,
Wow.
I
Okay.
got tears in my eyes. He hanged himself in the summer.
What? Just recently, or the summer when y'all was younger?
Recently just hanged
So what?
himself.
He still was in the closet and fighting
He
those
had a
demons.
girl, he had kids, he had a girl. I don't
He
know.
was in the closet, bro.
Man, that ripped me up, messed me up. Because when I look about it, this guy never got angry, and he had the gift of an angel. He was cool. And maybe he was dealing with some of that in his life.
Yeah, he
We don't know
was
with the
obviously.
girl.
If he had a wife and kids, and you know that you know what I'm saying, he was gay on the inside, then obviously he was battling with that his own demons, and he couldn't
I
escape
don't
that.
know if he, but I think that it was. And he lost his father too a year ago. And I think all of that and I was like, what? And to hear my other peer that I was tight with, who he was a little, what you call it, uh, sexual. He
Right.
got a wife, not now, but I believe I can't go into all of that. But my main
I,
point,
I think
I
when dudes
was
be
made
having
fun of,
wives and they know that they're gay, I think they're still like
and
hiding something. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all
I
still
wouldn't
gonna
want to
go
get.
out.
For me to get, I would desire to have kids, and I know this is thing popping up now where you got young dudes because you don't want to be like him. I see in New York here, they get a wife and they showcase their wife, and like, okay, well, God bless you, and that's cool. Is that really real? Who knows?
But
For me, I have
I
to
ain't even
have a
gonna hold
wife.
you. It's a dude now. I ain't even gonna say his name, but it's a dude now, and he, I could clearly see that. You know what I'm saying? He's gay, right? A lot of people can see it, but this dude, he acts the toughest in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he's married, he got a wife or whatever, but I know it's all a front. I could clearly see through it that this dude, he's gay. Like, it is what it is. But he's not trying to come out yet. Obviously, he's just not trying to let it be seen. But you can clearly see it. Like, some things you just can't hide, bro. Like, you just can't. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like, when a
and people
person's a
don't
bad
understand.
person, I don't give a fuck how nice they act. You can still see that motherfucker's a bad person. You piece of shit. But when a person is gay and they trying to pretend like they straight, they may be pretending to themselves, but it shows. Like you said, the femininity, this is the little, you know what I'm saying, the mannerisms about you and stuff like that. So I feel like once you come out and you say, look, this is what I am, accept me for who I am, then you that'll then release some things in you that would not make you want to kill yourself, or like how your friend, he hung himself and all that,
Right.
because it's too much to
I'm
have a
comfortable.
wife. It's too much to have a wife, children, act all thugged out and pretend when you know deep down inside, you know what I'm saying? Like you love the same
Bro,
sex.
I do some of that. Now, I have went with women recently, in the past, whatever, a couple of years ago, whatnot in between, but, or a year ago, but I recently, reason my problem is, I don't know what it is in my chemistry. I don't feel good. I crave
About
for that
what?
masculinity. I want to be masculine. I want to be, but I got this feminine way I don't like, but hey, God
Listen,
loves my flaws. I
you
have to
are
love
who
my
you are,
flaws.
brother. You are
I,
who you are.
I'm just saying, I'm just being free, whatever
Right.
have you, because I know people look and they, how are you? Like in the weirdest of times, like ill wishes almost, but you can't break things down to them. So this is my moment. Like, I know one right now that, of course, he already's out there. He already had, whatever, but he don't know if I could say this, that look at you better thank God that you ain't 6 feet under, because if it would have been the other way, he would have been still here. You would have been 6 feet under.
Mm. Okay.
Because you at least was in the church trying to
Right.
get to God and have changed. This one here is dragging you, putting you in situations probably you could have been killed.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
But you know
anyway,
what? But see,
I mean,
that's the thing that I'm saying about, like, when dudes stay in the closet for too long, like that, you affect people, because look at for instance, there's so many men out there, right, that are gay in the closet, and they have a wife to pretend like they're straight, but then they go out like they're going out with the fellas, but now they're going to these gay clubs, or they're going to these rest spots or whatever, and they're having unprotected sex with these men because that's what they really love, and then they go home and sleep with their wives, and then give their wives AIDS or something like that, when you could just be out and free of who you are, instead of acting like you straight, and just be gay, and don't string a woman along, because that woman is now affected. Now when she finds out, well, God forbid she catch AIDS or whatever from the promiscuous gay husband, but even if she don't catch AIDS or whatever like that, and she now finds out her husband is gay, think of the mental anguish that does for her. And then you do got a lot of women out there that have that gaydar in them, that can see that their husband is a little feminine, and they just don't want to believe it. But I just think it takes
That too.
right, and it just takes each
I would
individual.
say this.
Yeah,
There was a woman, was a 2 years ago, a year. She said that it's possible you can find love with the opposite sex. It's still the word called compromise. She talked about her husband, and
right.
they've been married for 40 something years, and he had a little way about him.
He
But
was
she
gay
said they would come
and
together
bisexual.
and they prayed. They prayed together. There are a woman, and there are a lot of that going on, and of course with pastors and bishops and whatnot. But
Yes,
they got this ego, or they got this name that they are. But it can still work. You can't compromise, and there is, you know. This is why I say I believe God is just letting everything just down, because the church needs to be rebuilt in understanding. Everything is not demonic knives. And you have people talking about this stuff who have not gone through that. They're talking out of your view. But when you tap into somebody else's story and they're telling you this is what it is, there are pastors that are gay right now. That whole
yes,
church, I knew when I walked into that church in the city, I knew that, oh, this is a gay church, but this is a God-fearing church. The pastor of that church, he's married with the opposite sex. But there were leaders as pastors that were. You don't get ripped. It's somebody that's saying, God, I love you. I lay my body down for you. to exchange for you to help me, because I don't want my soul to be lost in any way. But this is the reality.
But how could that pastor be speaking that if he's living a lie himself? How could you have
Well,
a
he's
wife
not
in
living.
church?
I don't think that he's living a lie. I just
If he,
knew
if
that
he,
there
if he's
there
gay, then
was something in place.
if he's gay, then it's clearly he's sneaking around with men on his wife.
Well, I won't say that. That church is a big church, and that I know somebody that goes there, and most of a lot of the gigs are city musicians. They play there, and that pastor is strictly. I don't get that from him, but they did have that system. They had a youth pastor who was. I don't think anymore. I think that he had or she had moved on, whatever. But that church right now, because of the other churches that had a lot of young people, they did not want to embrace. Do you know that Con Ed sold them out? And who's the hottest church right now in Harlem? The people are going to is that Baptist church right there now, because they have moved up and embraced with the times. I think that it's it's just we just have to. I'll say this: walk our walk with fear and with trembling.
But
I
look,
can't tell you. It's not my job to tell you what is right or what is wrong. Our job, because if you read the Bible day, they just said one word. He brought what? Good tidings of comfort and joy. And he said what? Repent and be ye baptized. That's all you heard. Repent and
so,
be ye baptized.
so would you say a
Look
lot
at
of a
no,
gay?
not going into people's lives and people's business and indulging and going into areas that you're not familiar with, and you or somebody come farm or confide in you, and you get over the church and preach about it.
Right.
No, that's not what God wants us to do. Because it's loving, tender. Our job is the church's job is to pray. This is where people in the people back in the day that had ministry, what's his name, Starworth or whatever, who fasted 21 days, and his church started in a drug infested area. Those people got saved.
Would you
That's
say you
what the
secure within yourself? Would you say that, Phil?
yes. I think I'm learning, to be honest, and you probably could feel the authenticity because I have been authentic with you.
I feel like
You know,
you wanna get it out, but you still kind of like jumping around with it.
I
You know what I'm
I don't
saying?
know.
Like,
No, I did. I think you think I am okay. What is it to help me to get it out? To help me,
I'm just saying, like, if you listen, if you a gay man, you a gay
I
man. It's
am.
out here. It's out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I
it is
I
what it is,
mean,
yo. Like,
the only thing
you
I would
can't
have
dance
is
around
somebody
it no
running
more
with
and
it,
try to
taking it.
and you can't
I
dance around it or
yeah.
code it with the Bible. You can't do that. Just who you are is who you are, bro. That's it.
I
Accept you for who you
I
are.
of course
I
I
just was
have
on
been
my
man.
live
I
with
am
you.
Superman.
I've been on my live with you for the whole show, the whole hour, and we've been speaking on
You have,
gay. And I feel
and you
like
real
it's
low.
something. I feel like you really wanted to get something out, and you did
I
it.
did it for a while,
You know what I'm saying? And
for a
I'm
long
happy for you. I'm a round of applause for you,
because
man, to get that off your chest. You feel me? You know what I'm saying?
it's been something to the point where like God, I was actually praying during the time, and I was sitting there on the gym getting ready to live. And I'm like, God, how can I just be free? If I could just have that and just be able to, you know, and say, son, no matter what, I still love you. I
Right.
still get that. I still get that from, the father or whoever talked, whatever, say, that, but whoever,
Right.
he ain't gonna tell me to sit down. He hasn't told me to sit down yet.
Right.
But
Right.
I do get other things within the family, within that I see how it is heartbreaking. But that's why I think God has blessed me. I'm able to have a life outside of the church that's
Mm.
clean and enjoy myself without getting drunk and
Right.
going into places and ministering to people,
Right. Right.
because
Right.
I understand what, you know, people go through, and it's something that I go through, and that, I yearn for that masculine. I learn for that. I wish I would have had. I'd be like, I see people that are straight. I'd be like, I wish I was like that. I had a
Because
girl and everything.
you're really still not owning your truth yet. That's why. Because
I,
you're not.
I am. Well, I, I have accepted myself,
Okay, that's what's up. Then
but
you live your
because
truth.
I feel greatness on the inside of me.
Right.
Okay, look at, but you don't stay there and wobble in
No,
defeat
but not at all.
because
Because just because you're a gay man, you don't have to hide anything. I've been at shows with you where you sing phenomenal. Like Luther Vandross was gay. He was one of the best singers in the world. Like, my God, like it's so much shit you can do, and you don't have to be like under that umbrella and in fear that, oh my God, is they gonna look at me funny? Because again, you got ridiculed when you was younger, but you're a man now. And the gay community is huge. I mean, it's like so huge right now. Like, I'm not a gay man, and I don't agree with all of the gay agenda that's out there, but the gay agenda is here. The gay community is large and in charge. So
It's not even a fuss no more. Like when you find out, it might mess your head up. Like, really, you? Oh, okay, and that's it. It's not
right,
nothing to be like,
it's
oh my
nothing for you to
God.
be ashamed of anymore. It's like
As soon as
you
you
shouldn't
find
be.
out with
At your
someone,
age, you don't need to be hot and shit. That's it.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is, bro. Like, for real.
it is what it is. But we do know that also that God's spirit, He said He will pour on all flesh.
Right.
It
You
did
can't even
say
think about,
whether you was just
I feel like
okay.
you feel like you're not gonna make it to the pearly gates because you're still fighting demons on whether or not, the
I
Lord is
do
gonna look at
still.
you saying, yeah, it sounds like
I
that. Like,
still. I'm healing in different stages. I'm still yes.
right.
I still have the fear of God, but sometimes I just want to touch,
Mm.
and it's you know I definitely and I've told my dad I wish that because there are times he come out of there. Look at when the deacon call, hey Deacon, how you doing? Can we have a family night? Hey, I want that affection, but because of his background, he's from Jamaica. He
Oh
caters to the
yeah.
members.
So
He caters to
he's
the members.
Jamaican. He's like
I
Caribbean Jamaican.
I would sit there. Can
Oh,
you be quiet, please?
wow.
Sister Carol, how you doing? God bless you. Oh
Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Because
And look at
in a Jamaican community, they pretend like they all against it because it's gay.
all
It's mad gay men
all
that's
this
Jamaican.
privilege, all this privileges
Yeah.
around. Okay, that's my situation in
Right.
the ministry. Thank God, God knew what He was doing when He made me super talented.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
because all these gifts here, alrighty, these people feel privileged because
Right.
they're past his best, and I don't get that attention when we come home. We don't get that.
Okay.
I think now he leans towards it. I desire, but then at times I'm going to be honest. I think then at times I don't know if that is really coming because he's so traditional
Right.
from a real place. But he told me when he went away, "Oh son, keep up the good work, but you still feel there's, and you have to, and you can feel that twirling in you, that sense. This is why I have not been verbal, and I am not fully. I am verbal, and I wanted to be free. I am
And I think
wanted to come
the
out.
truth will set you free. Like once you let it out, then you probably will feel that whole weight off your shoulders
Look
would
at
be lifted. And I know you'll be open off of whatever it is that is bothering you from everything. If you just let the world know, yo, I'm a
it's
gay
all
man,
right. Whether
and it's
you
all
want to
right.
talk to me, whether that some of them in cliques don't be like him, don't want to talk to me. I know who I am, and at the end of the day, I know my worth.
I think in this
And
day and age right now, you coming out the closet and saying that you're gay, and you know what I'm saying, nobody's gonna look at you differently because the gay community is huge, and so many gay people
Yeah,
out
but
here.
thank
So,
God, still a small church, and thank God that
and
you
so
only
you worrying
got
about
three
the
people up
church.
on here. I don't know if you had about 1,000 some odd people that it would be probably, would this get back or would they like? But you know what? At the end of the day, is I'm at a place where I have to live for Phil,
Exactly.
and I found
Exactly.
out this is what God was saying to me. I want you to have pleasure.
Right.
I
If that's what
want
you
you
love, that's what
to
you gotta
enjoy.
do. That's what you gotta do,
You know
bro.
what I'm
Like you
saying?
gotta live your truth. You got
But
I'm
at
gonna
the
just
end
say
of the
this. Go
day,
ahead. I'm gonna let you say this, then I'm gonna
okay,
say
I know.
something. I'm gonna let Nonsense say something, and we're gonna end it because we've been on here
Okay,
for like
and I'm gonna
hours.
shut up. And I'm gonna shut up. And I'm gonna be quiet and shut up.
Go ahead. Say what you gonna
at
say.
the at the end of the day, is one thing is we do know, and I lost my thought. Oh God, you know, at the end of the day is we have to, again, you know, God is our source. As long as I build an altar and I give that part of me, that I talk to Him and I give that part, because He already know and He already said to me, it's all right. It's all right. I'm with you. I'm not gonna leave you nor forsake you. People will turn, things will come, but I'll still stay there with you. And I thank God for that prayer life,
And as
because
long as you got that belief, you be that'll set you free. That the truth will set you free, bro. And that's just what it is, man. You ain't got to worry about nothing what nobody else think or say about you. I think that's what you got to lift off your shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Just stop worrying about what people think in your church, around your way, family members. You just got to live for you, and then you'll be fine. And you won't be in this cluttered space where you like conflicted with, oh, should I try to be masculine like him, or should I, act who I am, or should I let parade around with my boyfriend that I like or whatever like that. Like that stuff you gotta break out of for yourself for you to be free. Can't nobody else set you free from whatever demons you have hidden inside but yourself. That's what you gotta do. So we spoke about it being a gay agenda, but this then turned into about people that are gay on the inside and are afraid to let it out. So it's just let yourself be free and be who you are, and they're gonna embrace you, bro. And you a dope ass singer. Yo, your singing is crazy. I ain't gonna front. This shit fire. Like when every time I see you perform, I was like, damn, you fire. And I did see, you know what I'm saying, a little femininity in you, but I never looked at you differently. I never, like, oh, hey, he's gay. I don't got to want to be around him. Nah, not at all. Like I'm sure with my sexuality, so I don't have a problem with being around, what I'm saying,
I
gay
felt
people
that.
and stuff like that. Like, so, and that's
It's
how you
funny you
gotta be.
said that, bro. I told someone this like a few months ago. I said, I'm more mature about the whole thing now. It ain't like when I was
Right,
younger, I used to be all with it. Now I'm like, okay, like that, It's not
right,
a big, oh my God type thing.
right.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, yeah.
It's got to be true to yourself, man, and that'll set you free. You know what I mean? Like that'll set you free, bro. Just be true with yourself, man. That's it. And no, because I feel
Yeah,
like a lot of men that are gay and they're hiding it. I think being in the closet is even worse because now you're even fooling women. You know what I'm saying? Like you're bringing women into something that they shouldn't be put into. If you know you ain't
Exactly.
interested in women, you shouldn't be pursuing a woman to look the part of being a straight man when you know you're not. Just be who you are. Because the community is
right.
huge. The gay community is so out there now that
But it
you shouldn't have to hide or be nervous of anybody feeling a way about you because,
exactly, and it
you know what I
does
mean?
not mean that they are against the female agenda.
Not at all.
I love the females agenda, and right. So I just wanted, you know what I'm saying?
So I
Yeah,
appreciate you coming in and letting them, you know what I'm saying, letting that out and getting that off your chest.
I
You know what I'm
feel
saying?
free. I feel
You
really
should.
like tons of weight. This was a blessing. I thank God for this. A
Word.
blessing. There's tons of weight, and because I realized there are other people where I had sung at open mics, and it turned to be like a crowd just came hoovering over. People were being blessed, and I'm like, huh? At some point, you see
Yeah.
somebody like that doing the impact and the response, and you don't want to work with them, and
Right.
you hear your icons and how your icons in the game got into the business like that, and
Right.
that ain't happening. And it came to me because, oh, or either what somebody said about me, or he ain't in his truth. Yeah, I know he gonna have both. And a lot of times their mindsets are so carnal.
Right.
Why would God give me this ability to touch people's heart and that people would stop on the street,
Mm.
you know,
Nah,
and feel the conviction and feel the
your
power,
singing is fire,
and
though. I
then
ain't
you're
gonna
gonna
hold you.
look at it.
Nah, your singing
But
is excellent. I said I ain't gonna hold you up on that one yet. Your singing is fire. Like
I
I saw
want
you
to
perform a
definitely
couple times.
thank you. I want to be able to do something with you.
Well, we could do a
At
song.
least
I let
sing.
you sing a hook on my joint. I always said that anyway when I see you perform. I said I need him to sing a hook on something because you got that church voice. You know, every singer don't got that church voice. You know what I mean? Niggas that know how to
But
sing from church sing differently. You feel me?
it's that KC and JoJo thing, right?
Yeah,
Hey,
yo,
look
it's
it.
something. But
I
y'all got it.
I've also wrote stuff. I have wrote in my journal where I felt God was communicating with me,
Right.
and this is what He said. And I told a friend about this. I woke up in the middle of the night and I started writing about different things that I was going through, and this is one of them.
Right.
If I brought you into that limelight, would you be able to be who you really are inside? If that limelight was going to expose your skeleton,
Right.
would you be able to handle it?
Is that a
So I thought,
question?
okay, God. So I thought, God, you were saying that you're not going to bless me because you don't think I can handle it. And that's not what God was saying.
Right.
And hours later, I went to the doctor and I went to go into the bathroom. This was like in the winter time or towards the late winter. And I went into the bathroom. When I went in there, I was like, God, what are you saying? And then it came to me. It's because I want you to be free, be comfortable with who you are.
That's the only way you're
Because
gonna
when
have
you
peace
get into
within
that,
yourself.
because where you going, and where your heart is taking you, it's going to be uncovered.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, because
And I now
this
embrace
industry
it.
is full of it, bro. It's the industry is full of it, and you would actually fit in more in this industry being your truth instead of trying to lie and pretend to be something that you know you're not. You know what I'm saying? If you know you're not a straight man, don't pretend to be a straight man. Don't go and get a woman to pretend. It's not good to be a pretender
Right.
because now you're only
Trying to
lying to
please people.
yourself. You're only lying to yourself, and
Right.
that
Right.
now you got all of that bitterness or that weight on you that's in yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is,
I had
bro.
a family. I had a family member recently at somebody else's birthday party came to me. Oh, what you think about this? So and so getting the girl, and that girl was getting ready to marry. She was supposed to be marrying somebody. Found out. I said, what? That got canceled that quick? And all of a sudden, what? You just laid eyes on? Okay, things can happen. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then, my aunt, she came to me about it. My dad's sister, she was like, what you think about so and so? I said, look, I don't get into involved people's business. People do what they want to do. I wish them the best. I'm happy for them. And it kind of made it look like she thought I was going to get jealous.
Right,
And you know what makes me tick right now? My education.
right.
Okay? Education.
He
I
said my
see young folks
education.
going to the altar and you a security guard. Okay, when this next shutdown, if we do have another shutdown, it's going to be worse.
I think we
You're
should.
going to need some education. Okay? Because when you struggle to make ends meet and pay bills, it ain't going to be funny.
Yo,
That's what make me
we
tick.
got 30 seconds, but I wanted to say something about that. When you said it should be another shutdown because I just seen today on the news that like 500 or 1,000 school bus drivers was killed because the COVID is being spread on these school buses because it's a confined area and those little kids can't get vaccinated, even though the vaccination ain't even stopping kids from getting it. But the shit is spreading so rampant in the school community and in the bus driver community that so many bus drivers, I mean hundreds of them, are dying because a lot of them are already old, retired seniors that's now doing a side job, which is driving a bus, and they're dying a lot. A lot of the school bus drivers are dying
Wow.
because the little kids are
In New
spreading
York?
COVID all over, bro, all over.
Wow.
Like it's the
And they're
hundreds
lying.
of bus drivers dying, and they ain't really talking about this shit, bro. That mean they open shit up too fast. They open shit up too fast, bro.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they open shit up too fast. But that's a whole nother topic we could get into and shit like that.
Yeah, we
That'll
ain't gonna
probably
get
be
into
the
that.
next
Yeah.
topic. But I just want to say, thanks to you for letting your truth be known on the Big Homie podcast, because I'm not discriminatory against gay people. Like, I protect my sons and I'm there for my sons for them to, in hopes that they would be straight men. But like you said, you can't choose and pick what you know what I'm saying, your child would want to be. I would want my sons to not be, but if they are, I'm not going to love them any less. You know what I'm saying? But to all of the people that's out there that are gay and they're hiding it or they're in the closet, you got to just live your truth, man, because living your truth is just going to set you free. You know what I'm saying? You could go to the church every day, all day, and keep praying and praying and praying, but if you still hiding that inside, God is not even going to make you feel better because you ain't out there, being known. You could, all the time that a person is lying about being gay, they could have already met their soulmate and be living their life, married or whatever the case may be, because gay people could get married now and everything like that. You could be doing so much living your truth as opposed to hiding it and masking it with like the Lord and everything like
I
that. Just be who you are,
I
bro.
still have deficiencies that I wish
See
that,
that.
my parent would get up there and say, I'm proud of my son. I'm proud, because there's a lot of people from the church community that we do know up on that. I don't get that.
See, and
No.
those is
So
issues
I
that you.
yearn for that. And again, that's another additional pressure I have. This is
Yeah, man.
why this role, bro, sticks out to me, you know, because it's a lot deeper than
Well, look,
just
I'm
what
gonna
we
have
see.
you. I want you to sing on one of my records. I need you to do a hook because your singing is phenomenal, and I'm gonna let people know.
You gonna pay
Yo,
me? You gonna pay me? We talk the business a little bit.
well, look, we'll talk the business after we finish with this, because this I'm about to end this live. This is the Big Homie podcast. I appreciate you being
Bro,
here, and you know what I'm
who's
saying.
that guy right there?
That's Nas' son right there. He's
Mr.
a
Drama
clothing line
Hawk.
on Drama Hawk Mo. His clothing line is Nas' son. He makes clothes for the plus size women and men as well. Bunch of people, but it's
Bro,
mainly about
we
the plus
could
size.
do something together. I have ideas. I don't know how to go about it. I don't want to be pushy, but this right here, I think it's a new opening. This is the opportunity right here. This is a lot of wealth right here. Right
But
here.
look, that's what it's all about. Everybody networks together and make shit happen. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? It's all about us helping each other. You know what I mean? Like,
Call
we
me.
don't look at you no differently because you gay. Like, it's you still a black man
Thank
that
you.
have things going on. Like you said, you got your education. I know that you sing very
Trying.
well. I
Trying.
know you sing very
Trying.
well. This guy right here next to you on my screen, Drama Hog Mo, he's been doing his clothing line independently for years.
Bless you, man.
Matter of fact, I think you've been
Bless
doing
you.
it for about the same amount of time I've been doing Groundhog. You know what I'm saying? So you can check out Drama Hawk Mo, and you know what I mean? Nas Sun clothing line and perfect curves. You know what I mean?
Perfect curve.
You know what I'm saying? He's doing his thing, bro. So it's all love here, man. I appreciate y'all for being on the show. I appreciate you for opening up and telling your truth on the show. And yo, after we finish this live, I'm gonna hit your DM so we could link and let everybody like Drama Hawk, you get his information and we get each other's information so we could get this business rolling, because I'm all about business, man. I don't discriminate against nobody
Yeah.
because of their sexuality and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. I had to learn to accept the things I cannot change. Me having sons, of course, I was on some, I don't want my son being gay. I don't want my son being gay, and I'm there showing them love and being there for them, getting them, keeping them masculine and everything, like you said you wanted your father to do for you. But whatever came out of it or whatever made you be who you are, live that. And that's just what it is. And I'm gonna end it on that. You know what I'm saying? Big Homie Podcast every Monday from 10 to 11,
Bless you.
sometimes from 10 to 12. I appreciate my guest that was on, everybody that came in. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna do this again. All right? Salute, y'all. Ron
Thank
Hard.
you.
Word.